drastic.
Oh, there, my rosebud.
I'm just saying, I am a woman. I have needs and appetites, and I can't live on fresh air alone. I'm just saying, a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do.
I could always become a window cleaner or a chimney sweep, going up and down, up and down until Mama.
Now, I'm warning you. I'm going to dunk you in a bath full of bromide and ice cubes. Now, where was I? Oh, Arcade. Open this when I've gone. Bye, my darling. Mwah. Mwah. Come on.
Phew. Blimey, that was close. What's in this here box then, Arkwright?
Well, let's have a look. It's a file. It's a file with a cake inside.
Oh, dear. Is that the machinery?
Oh, God.
I do hope you let me know about getting out of it.
Oh, but Bramble, my boy, don't let me down.
Nice to meet you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. I have forgotten my port. Will you? I would like to tell you a couple of stories. Are you sitting comfortably? Are you sitting comfortably?
Yes!
Then I will begin. Have I ever told you? Oh, before we start, can we have some lights on the audience, please? Just for a moment, please.
It's a bit technical.
Light them up.
It's a bit technical. The lights are outside.
Ah, right. Okay, so don't worry about that. We can do it even easier than that and more embarrassing for those in the audience. Mrs. Karen Sunner, stand, please. And join me on the stage. And Mr. Joe Sunner, please. They're here and here. I know they are.
I'm taking my mum's clothes, sorry.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Absolutely fine. Now, your daughter has told me you're not laughing enough, so if you just give a little ha. Ah, you can sit down. So, the story of the old Duke. The old Duke was walking about his estate on a Saturday morning. Now, his big interests are shooting, women, and horses. And it's a Saturday morning, mid-season form, and he hasn't been invited anywhere, and so he's off with his Labrador, Fido, and he's walking about through his woods. Anyway, as he's strolling around, shotgun broken over his arm, he stumbles across a young lady, quite half naked, just wearing a negligee. No, well, I call them breasticles. Just a little pair of panties. And a negligee. And so his lordship, he walks up there and says, "Hello." And she says, "Hello, my lord. How are you?" He says, "Oh, I'm not too bad." He says, he was out for a walk. He says, "Got a gun with me, hoping to find a pheasant or a partridge." He says, "Oh, yes, well, just letting him, And so his lordship says, he looks at her and he says, are you game?" And she says, "Oh, yes, my lord, I'm game." So he shot her. There's a young lady, and as I say young, reasonably young. And she goes to the doctor's. I says, "Morning, Mrs. Smith." "Morning, madam." She says, "I've got a bit of a problem," she says. "I've got a problem with my sex life." She says, it's got a little stale, and I'm not quite sure what to do about it. I've had a long thought, and actually what I decided is perhaps I'd like a bigger chest." And so the doctor says, "Well, you know, these are things that we can talk about and sort out." And so she says, "Well, I'd like an enlargement. Might spark the old husband up." And he said, "Well, yeah, we can do that, but it's very expensive, and it can be quite dangerous. So my suggestion to you is we use this old Indian remedy first." He says, "What I want you to do," he says, "is tomorrow morning," he says, "I want you to go into the shower, and I want you to get the soap, and I want you to lather yourself up, all like that," he says, "and take that lathering soap and put it all over your chest area, like that, and rub." He says, "And as you're rubbing," he says, "I want you to say, 'Scooby-Dooby-Dooby, I want bigger boobies.'" So she agrees to do this. The next morning arrives, off she goes, gets into the shower, grabs the soap, lathers herself up, rubs all around, "Scooby-Dooby-Dooby, I want bigger boobies. Scooby-Dooby-Dooby, I want bigger boobies." Her husband is meanwhile sat on the bed, and, "You're all right, dear?" "Absolutely fine, absolutely fine." Anyway, so the next morning, she goes up and she does the same thing. "Scooby-Dooby-Dooby, I want bigger boobies. Scooby-Dooby-Dooby, I want bigger boobies." And so the husband, who's sort of half out of the bed this time, says, "Are you sure you're all right?" Yes, absolutely fine. "Scooby-Dooby-Dooby." Anyway, a couple of days go past, and the husband's so intrigued, you see. And, so Friday morning arrives, and she goes into the shower, and she gets that soap, she lathers herself up, rubs it all around, "Scooby-Dooby-Dooby, I want bigger boobies." And the husband is stood right by the door, listening. "Scooby-Dooby-Dooby, I want bigger." And he opens the door, and he says, "I know," he says, "you've been to see Dr. Smith." And she says, "How on earth do you know that?" And he says, "Hickory dickory dock." There are 3 ladies. They all work after hours. Ladies of the night, showing the old ankle. And they have a very successful Saturday night, and Sunday morning, as they always do, they go up and they sit down and they chat about how they've got on the night before. This is set in Bristol. Anyway, so the first lady, she says, "How did you get on last night, Sandra?" And Sandra, "Last night," she says, "oh, it was wonderful. Absolutely marvellous," she said. "Well, who did you have?" She said, "I had an electrician." "Electrician? Oh, he were marvellous," she said. "Put a spark into anything. Absolutely bloody wonderful." I said, "Oh, right, okay." And so say to the second one, she says, "How did you get on, Gazelda?" True story. And so Gazelda says, she says, "Oh, he were bloody fine to a point," she said. "He were a bloody plumber. What he don't know about pipes, I will never know. Absolutely bloody marvellous." So anyway, the other 2 are sat there. And what about you, Timothy? No, Timothina. And she says, "Oh, bloody hell," she says, it were bloody awful," she said. "You've never had a night like it. Absolutely bloody awful." I said, why, what was the problem?" She said, "He was a bloody farmer." She said, "Farmer? It sounds absolutely wonderful. It's, you know, nice little lager, nice family farm, you know, it sounds wonderful. What went wrong?" She said, "Well," she said, "first it were too dry, then it were too wet, then it were too bloody dear."
our finale now, so we'll just have a little... In fact, we'll have the cheers this side, because that might just be the difference. Obviously, it's easier to cheer than boo. There you go, you've earned them. That wasn't a £5 note, I just took that.
No, it wasn't Neil.
Tell you what, Neil would be up there like a rabbit of a drain pipe. That was a £5 note. Right. Things aren't looking too good for our poor old shopkeeper, because into big trouble he's getting deeper and deeper. He's been incarcerated for beggary by illicit approbations, and there's the charge of embezzling his friends and relations. It looks like his troubles aren't finished yet, because he may well have lost his fair Juliet. Hyacinth's had her head turned by a bright scheming stinker, for whom she seems to be falling hook, line and sinker. It appears Branville must channel his inner sleuth, and for his suspicions he'll have to find the proof. Arkwright's future rests in that dear errand boy's hands, because Bouncy could have Hyacinth hearing their banns. If evidence of wrongdoing isn't found and revealed, then Arkwright's fate will be writ, signed and sealed. Then there's the ongoing question of Branville's love life. Will he ever manage to strike gold and bag him a wife? And if things don't manage to get any worse, we might even catch up with that lovely nurse, who would have made Arkwright a much better wife, one who wouldn't demand or give him so much strife. And what on earth is in store for Nell the nymphette? Because we haven't seen the last of her yet. Also, let's not forget all those poor unfortunate debtors. Can they pay off their bills and escape from their fetters? I think you'll agree that they're all really quite nice. And let's face it, none of us is without sin, weakness or vice. There is still one cast member that we've not met thus far, the one that spent the last 3 scenes drunk at the bar. She's the proud, enigmatic, mysterious outsider, not to mention a talented lady horse rider. Will we get to the bottom of her part in our play? Because I'm sure she will have plenty to say. There are so many issues that hang by a thread, so many questions going round in my head. How will it all end? Will it turn out all right? Will Arkwright and Bouncy end up in a fight? The only way to know it for sure is to come to the finale, that is scene number 4.
Oh, urchin, have you collected my corsage yet?
Yes, Mum, it's on the table.
Allow me, my angel. Yes.
Oh, Bouncy, you do spoil me.
No more than you deserve, my buttercup.
Mama, dear Mama, you're engaged.